After I cleaned out my mother's kitchen, I came home, sat at my own table, and looked at every drawer in my house differently. I did not see a house anymore. I saw a system, or the lack of one. I did not see clutter anymore. I saw future decisions, future bills, future confusion, future work someone else might have to do if I never made my home easier to understand. That thought changed me. That was the day I stopped trying to have a perfect home. At 52, I do not need perfect. I need a home that stops making expensive decisions for me when I am tired, distracted, or stretched thin. So today, I am sharing the 9 home systems I use now. Not fancy systems, not matching bins, just little places in my house that quietly protect my money, my memory, and my peace. Number 9, the kitchen table command center. This is the first system I built because almost every money mistake in my house started with paper being in the wrong place and no one place being responsible for the month. For years, my bills lived in one drawer. Receipts lived in my purse. The calendar was on the wall, and my check date lived somewhere in my head. That worked until life got busy. That is not a system. That is a scavenger hunt. And when you live on a fixed income, a scavenger hunt can turn into a late fee, an overdraft, or a very stressful phone call. Now I keep one small spot at my kitchen table for the things that run the household. Calendar, pencil, current bills, receipts, and my check date pages. Nothing fancy, just together. The biggest change was realizing I did not have a budgeting problem as much as a timing problem. The money came on one day, the bills wanted another. Seeing that on paper calmed me down. I actually made a printable version of this fixed income binder system. The check date pages, danger zone page, bill timing pages, all of it. I will leave it in the description if you want it. But honestly, a notebook and pencil can still do the job. The system matters more than the paper. The point is that your money, bills, and dates finally sit in one place where your eyes can find them before the month gets away from you. Number 8, the Danger Zone Week Marker. This is the system that made me stop pretending every week of the month feels the same, because it does not, especially when the check comes on one date and the bills line up on another. This is the 7 days before the next check arrives. That is the week when money feels tightest, groceries run low, and one small purchase can turn into an overdraft or credit card swipe. I mark those days on my calendar before the month begins. Not because I am trying to scare myself, but because I want the hard week to stop sneaking up on me like it used to. During that week, I do not start new spending. I do not browse sales. I do not promise money to anyone. I protect groceries, medicine, gas, and the lights. That week has rules. Number 7, the mail landing station. This one sounds small, but paper has cost me real money when I let it wander through the house. Mail used to come into my house and scatter like leaves, some on the counter, some in my purse, some tucked under a magnet on the refrigerator. Then I would swear I never saw it. That is how notices get lost. That is how a bill you meant to pay becomes a final notice. That is how a small paper pile becomes a $35 mistake with a customer service hold time. Now mail stops at the door. Bills go in one folder. Junk goes straight to recycling. Anything that needs a phone call goes in the same basket every time. Paper is not allowed to roam anymore because roaming paper becomes expensive paper. Number 6, the return station by the door. This is the system that quietly brought money back into my house from purchases that used to become permanent mistakes. I used to keep things that did not fit, did not work, or did not make sense, simply because returning them felt like a chore. The bag would sit there until the deadline passed. Then I would miss the return window and call it my fault. But the real problem was that returns had no home. They sat wherever I dropped the bag, and money stayed trapped in the wrong item. Now there is one bag near the door with the receipt inside. If something needs to go back, it goes there immediately. That bag is money waiting to come home, and I treat it that way. Number 5, the do not buy yet basket. This is where I put the things I am tempted to buy before they become another receipt in my purse. This one sounds almost silly until you try it. When I think I need something for the house, I write it down and put the note in a small basket instead of putting the item in a cart. I wait at least 48 hours. Half the time I forget the item even existed. The other half, I realize I already own something that will do the job well enough. The basket is not there to punish me. It is there to give my common sense time to catch up with my impulse. At 52, I need friction more than I need another sale. Number 4, the medicine and copay drawer. This is one of the least glamorous systems in my house, but it has brought me a surprising amount of peace. This is not medical advice. This is just household sanity. I keep pharmacy receipts, refill notes, a simple pill organizer, and copay reminders in one waist-height drawer where I can actually reach them. Not high in a cabinet, not scattered between the bathroom and purse. One drawer I can reach without stretching, searching, or buying duplicates because I forgot what I had already picked up. At this age, a home should respect your body. If a system requires bending, climbing, squinting, or remembering 6 different hiding places, it is not a system, it is another chore. Number 3, the repair basket. This one came straight from the older women in my family because they never treated a loose button like the end of a shirt. My grandmother always had a place for things that needed fixing. A button, a screw, a loose handle, a flashlight with dead batteries. Nothing dramatic, just things waiting for 5 minutes of attention. Without a repair basket, those little problems become shopping lists. You throw away the shirt, you replace the lamp, you buy another thing because the old one became inconvenient and invisible. Now, anything small that needs fixing goes into one basket. I do not fix everything immediately, but I have stopped pretending broken means finished. Sometimes broken just means waiting its turn. Number 2, the permanent donation box. After my mother's kitchen, I knew I could not keep treating clutter like a once-a-year event. I do not do dramatic decluttering weekends anymore. They exhaust me. They make the house worse before it gets better, and they turn every object into an emotional debate I do not have energy for. Instead, I keep one donation box near the door. When I touch something and know I am done with it, it goes in the box that day, before I can talk myself into storing it again. This system changed my home because clutter finally had an exit. Not a pile, not a someday plan, an exit. That one box has saved me from buying more storage bins than I can count. Number 1, the important papers binder. This is the system that stopped being about me and started being about the people who may someday need clarity from me. After cleaning out my mother's kitchen, this one became personal. I do not want my children searching drawers someday just to understand how my house works, what is due, and who to call. So I keep the important papers in one place. Bills, insurance notes, annual expenses, trusted contacts, medicine costs, and the few things someone would need in an emergency. Not everything, just enough. Not account numbers, not passwords, nothing unsafe, just enough clarity so the people who love me would not have to start from confusion on a day that is already hard. That is the thread running through every system in this video. I'm not trying to create a perfect house. I am trying to create a house that explains itself kindly, one drawer at a time. And here is the rule that changed everything for me. Every corner of my home needs a job. Not every corner needs to be pretty, but it needs to be on my side. The mail basket catches paper before it becomes panic. The return bag brings money back. The repair basket saves what I already own. The donation box gives clutter a door instead of a hiding place. When a corner has no job, it becomes a pile, and piles are expensive. They hide bills, hide groceries, hide medicine, hide returns, and hide decisions you eventually pay for with money or stress. A calm home is not a home with nothing in it. I do not want a sterile house. I want a lived-in home where the important things are easy to find and the unimportant things know how to leave. That is what changed after my mother's kitchen. I stopped asking, where can I put this? I started asking, what job does this do for the life I am living now, not the life I lived 20 years ago? If it protects my money, my health, my time, or my peace, it gets a clear place. If it only creates confusion, guilt, or future work, I question why I am keeping it and who I am keeping it for. The goal is not a tidy house. The goal is a house that stops making expensive decisions for you. That is the difference between organizing for appearance and organizing for peace. You do not have to build all of these systems this week. Start with one: the mail, the bills, the return bag. One corner on your side is better than a whole house fighting you, and it counts. Which system would help your home the most right now? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and your answers always teach me something I did not think of myself. And next time, I am talking about something a little different. The things I spend more on at 52. Because being frugal does not mean buying the cheapest version of everything. Sometimes cheap is expensive. I will see you there, and until then, pick one small corner of your home and give it a job. You may be surprised how much lighter the whole house feels.